Yo, Jay here, and if you weren't aware, I've been tabling at artist alleys and conventions for about a year now. It's been a really interesting year tabling for myself, and I just thought it might be nice to make a video to answer some questions you guys might have. Alright, let's get to it. What would you consider regarding how far you're willing to travel for a show? I think the first thing I think of when I'm traveling to any show that's out of state, do I have someone to split a hotel with, or is there someone I know who lives in that state that I can crash with? Obviously, I ask friends who are willing to house me if there are any in the area, but that is a big part because paying for a hotel every night can get really expensive. Another aspect I consider is what is the attendance count for a show and what things have other artists said about the show, because I like to know if it's worth, spending that much money for, paying for a flight, hotel, food expenses, any potential car ride share stuff. It's not really worth it if the expenses just eat up everything. Do you have to pay for your own table when accepted at a venue? You're going to have to pay for a table placement spot, right? Usually applications say upon acceptance, they'll charge your card. Usually they'll ask for your card information first. And most applications say what the booth comes with. It'll be like, hey, it comes with, like, for example, 1 6-foot table and 2 chairs and 2 badges. That's usually the standard. So always read on the application before applying. When it comes to your local venues, smaller markets and shows, you should always ask just in case. Sometimes they just don't provide tables or chairs, so something that you might want to consider. And table prices can range depending on the size of the show. Let's say it's a 3-day show and it's about, like $200 to $300 for the table. I'm like, great, amazing. But if it's like a bigger show, sometimes they can go from like $400 to, I don't know if you've seen my Evo video, $1,200, right? So in regards to the previous question about how far I'm willing to travel, I gotta know if I can save cost because the tables can be really expensive. Changes you made day one of tabling compared to your latest table. Yeah, a lot. If you see my very first table in my Sonic Boba pop-up shop at Onezo, yeah, that was just so sad, and like I already didn't have a lot of stuff. But even if you don't have a lot of stuff, I feel like I could have presented it way better. I kind of just had stuff hanging and laying out. It didn't really look appealing, and there was no uniformity in terms of like what color or theme my table was. And obviously I opted for pink. And as my table started evolving, I thought about branding and decorating it. So I started drawing like a lot of little tiny mungies. And I've gotten compliments from people being like, oh wow, I see all the Torty cats on here, and is this your cat? Like, I love them. And I always tell people, if mungies are gonna help me pay rent, I'm gonna market the hell out of her. I mean, you can just see the differences between my tables, I feel, if you've followed my vlogs. You've mentioned better/worse locations here and there. Do events usually just assign spots, or do you get some choice? Is there a booth placement meta? In your applications, there's kind of like a special request section. And normally you write in like, oh hey, like I need a space because that's handicap accessibility, or oh, I prefer to be closer to the bathroom, or something like that. But it's also a moment to type in like, hey, I'd like to be next to so-and-so artist. Or some applications say, is there an artist you want to avoid? Which I think is very nice. I hopefully won't have any drama like that. When I find out that friends are also applying, I always write like, oh, if accepted, I would like to be next to these artists, and sometimes they honor it and sometimes they really don't. I always get to the convention, I look at it and I ask, okay, which direction are people gonna be walking in? Because I gotta make sure they see my booth. But sometimes, like, if you get a bad table spot, people just don't see you, or traffic doesn't walk your direction. I think there is definitely a booth placement meta. How is the financial sides of vending/tabling like? Do you manage to get a pretty okay profit from doing it, is it sustainable in the long run? It really depends. Starting off, it was really expensive because I had to invest in a lot of merch, table display setups, and yeah, I found some cheaper alternatives to them, but it was definitely in the red in the beginning. I kind of went in with the mentality that that's just how it's gonna be for the first few months. Thankfully, I've had some pretty positive shows to balance it all out. It helps to have another source of income, and thankfully this is not my only source of income. I know other people who do this full time, and I absolutely have the utmost highest respect for them to commit to that grind. I've had some bad shows where I definitely was like, this is, I definitely did not make enough. And I've had a lot of good shows where I'm like, wow, wow, this really helped me in my upcoming expenses for the next few months. Is it sustainable in the long run? It's not an easy thing to get into. It's a whole lot of money to start that you need to have ready to invest in, and hopefully you make it back. I don't really think about that kind of stuff. I'm just kind of like, okay, I did good at this show. This was fun. It was a good experience. Because for me, like, yes, making money is cool, but I also want people to get to know me and see my other works like Bounty Light and my other writing work. What was the most important lesson you've learned from your first table this year to the last? Touched upon this a little bit, display. It's all about display and making your table look nice. You know, everyone has a different art style. It's less about good or bad, original or unoriginal. It's more so about how does your table look and does it invite people to take a peek. That's something I'm continually trying to work on, but presentation sells. What would you consider your biggest failing? What did you learn from it? Order less. Oh my God, I still have so much stuff that I was like, I think this is a good number to start off with, but I should have just ordered less. And I'm gonna be doing that more going forward. So I guess just sometimes just getting too caught up in the idea of a merch thing. And sometimes you do just want to draw for yourself and draw things that you want to draw. If you do that, just know that it might not pay off. How much of your customer base is existing fans versus brand new people? This is interesting because I feel like a lot of my customer base is brand new people, but I do get the occasional, oh wait, like I'm a fan of the Let's Play channel, or I'm a fan of your work on ProZD. Or at the same time, brand new people being like, wait, you do work for ProZD, after they look on my like social media after following. As an artist, I guess I'm still pretty new and people are just discovering me. If I'm a customer, what can I do to make you happiest as a vendor? Where can I stand to look to not block people? How long is too looking? And do we have time to chat or no? I appreciate this question. This is very nice of you to ask, and it's a legitimate thing. You know, sometimes you have customers who just stand at your table a little too long, you know? If it's one thing if they're trying to shop, that's fine. You know, I just do the whole, hey, like, let me know if you have any questions. Okay, cool. And I'm just going back to playing on my Switch. When it comes to time to chat, absolutely. I think the respectful thing to do is, you know, if you want to strike up a conversation with the artist, keep it simple. Just compliment their work and tell them that you're looking around for stuff, and they might ask, do you have any questions? And you'll be like, oh, I'm still looking. And how's the show been for you? And they might want to talk, they might not want to talk. Sometimes you just have to read the room in a sense. Sometimes you'll be talking to someone and then someone else comes to the table, and then, you know, you can politely be like, oh, I'll let you do your thing. And then the artist might be like, oh, okay, thank you. And then turn to the new customer and be like, hey, like, let me know if you have any questions. Be aware of your space and see that you're not blocking, you know, and just be chill. Everything's okay. Now, I wouldn't talk forever. I wouldn't like just dive into an entire thing unless you get the vibe that the artist is like, yeah, sure, like, what's up? Like, let's talk. Keep it brief. We love like great interactions and meeting new people, but ultimately we are there to try and make some money back. And sometimes if someone is talking too long, other people who are trying to shop are like, oh, let me just come back later. Or they're really are waiting to like ask for something to shop for, but you're taking so long that the other person just leaves. That's happened, but like both occasions have happened to me, and you know, it just is how it is. If you like their stuff, make sure to follow them. Asking for business cards is fine, grabbing a business card is fine, but just don't forget why you picked up the business card in the first place. I feel like I'll go through 100 cards, but I don't get 100 follows. And yeah, honestly, that's pretty much it. Just be a polite person and tell us how much you appreciate us and our work. That's honestly it. And don't hit on us. Seriously, do not try to hit us up. By trying to rizz up on us, you are trapping us because we can't leave our booth. This is messed up. So don't hit on us at all, ever. Was there an interaction at your table that sticks out to you the most? Hopefully a positive one. Honestly, anyone who's shown up and shown interest in Bounty Light, you know, whether they bought it before and they asked for an autograph or asked me about the comic and they are really interested and excited to read it. I still want people to remember me as a writer. At the moment, this is the most tangible product of mine. It makes me happy to know that people are interested in it. And of course, if you watch my Evo vlog, meeting Lythero and having Lythero and I Heart Justice come to my booth, that was amazing. What is the most awkward interaction you've had with someone at the booth? Fans of Sung1, fans of ProZD who come to my booth just as an excuse to talk to me because I'm associated with him. And it kind of makes me feel invalidated as a human or a hardworking artist, and they just want to talk to me about Sung1. Oh man, I love the Let's Play channel. I'm like, oh cool, yeah, like what did you like? It's like, oh, I'm actually a bigger fan of the previous Let's Play channel, which I'm not involved with at all. And they'll just talk to me about their favorite episodes from there or bits, and I'm just and it's just going over my head because I just don't know anything about it. That's not relevant to me at all. Our conversation is nothing relevant to my work, the art, the event, me, or it's just all about who I know. And it's, I don't know, I do feel like it's a little disrespectful. But anyone who follows the Let's Play channel, ProZD Plays Games, and wants to talk to me about it at my booth, please do. Oh my goodness, like, I have a blast. I love getting to meet the fans in real life. Any tips for filling out con/table applications? Ooh, this is a tough one because I'm also trying to figure out what is best. But having a portfolio site is really good. If you look at my main website, I actually have a portfolio section where I talk a little bit about myself as well as list some past events and some merch examples. And then just writing stuff that helps you stand out. I guess like talk about like what kind of experiences or what kind of fandoms you're into that is relevant to your work. I always say like, oh yeah, I draw Marvel vs. Capcom and Mega Man Battle Network and like Sonic Heroes, like really like random stuff because people are always expecting the same thing, Demon Slayer, JJK, and which is fine. That's absolutely fine. But for me, I'm like, this is what I have and I'm gonna just roll with it. And if they don't want it, then that's a bummer. And just read the application carefully. As long as you have your basic stuff and your stuff is updated and whatnot. I feel like sometimes people get paralyzed about making the perfect website before applying for things. I'm like, dude, if your website's already live, just put it up there for now. It's not like they're gonna check the application immediately the second you send it in. And for anyone who's wishing to table, good luck. What is your favorite product to sell and your favorite product to make/design? My favorite product to sell is Bounty Lights, of course. But in terms of something that I've personally made, I think the acrylic stands. I think, one, because they're heavy, so whenever I travel to a convention, I want those gone. So it makes me really happy when people get them, and then they do a bunch of gacha. I love drawing my Marvel vs. Capcom stickers. It was such a fun time just like playing the game again and thinking about their super moves and their iconic lines and just figuring out how to create that energy in the stickers. How do you determine how much to make of a product, and how do you decide how much of the stock to bring to the cons? Well, I kind of went over this a little bit earlier about that I make too much stuff sometimes. Depending on what it is, because the reason why I default to a unit of 20 for something is because that way I can order less. Prints, I order 20 of a design. Charms, I do 20 of a design. Acrylic stands, 20 of a design, whatever. That way I don't have to order every single month, but it's kind of becoming a detriment to me now where I'm like, oh, I still have stuff I made since the beginning. I've been hoping to get rid of this by now, especially because I want to draw new things. I want to get rid of old stuff and replace it with newer updated versions. It's whatever you're financially comfortable with. In terms of how much to bring to a con, I always try to gauge what kind of fans are going to be at the con. What is the con's theme? Is it more anime geared? Is it more video game geared? What will my suitcase allow me to carry? Because I have a 50-pound limit. And if I don't think something's popular, I'll just bring like 5 of it, or 10 of it, just keep it chill. So, but sometimes it's small enough that I just bring all of it. What are some general tips for breaking into the artist alley scene with no experience in artist alley work? I'm an artist with no commission experience, but I'm itching to eventually start commissions, finding ways to promote myself and one day join an artist alley. Thanks for your time. My experience in artist alley before I got started was that I used to work for a company called Omona, frequents at a lot of anime and comic conventions. And I took a lot of that experience and applied it to what I applied it to my own business. The first thing was just starting off with social media, just posting every day as much as you can. Even it doesn't have to be a finished drawing. It could be hashtag WIP work in progress. It could be a sketch. It could be an idea or whatever, just to show people, because a lot of these applications ask for social media, and so you can show that like, hey, I am an artist. I do have a lot of stuff. You can see my body of work. Just start applying. It doesn't always have to be a gigantic convention, although you can apply to one and maybe you'll get in. Sometimes just apply to your local like art markets or your night markets or whatever. Like, it might not be super popular, or it might be like a total flop like my first one was. All experience is good experience. When you're at these shows, even these smaller markets, just start taking pictures of your tables. Ask someone to take a picture of you at your booth or something, and then post on social media to make it look like that you are an active artist. It's like any job resume. Fake it till you make it in a sense, but take everything that you have and spin it in a way that looks like you know what you're doing. I think that kind of confidence reads in an application, and it'll help you in the long run. How hard is it to source the manufacturing parts, printing for your merchandise and art? How much of that do you have to handle yourself, and how much do you have to pay someone else to do it? It really depends on what kind of merch is, and everyone has their own manufacturer sources. I have a couple of mine, and a lot of them are overseas because I just design it and then I pay a lump sum for them to create X amount of units of that design and then ship it to me. At the moment, I do make my crime shirts myself with using like a heat press, and I order from a local print shop for the transfer sheets. I'm honestly getting to a point where I don't want to make them anymore. I kind of want to just get a shop to print them for me, but we'll see. I'm more focused on designing and displaying. And it's in terms of how difficult it's fine, it's really not. Honestly, if it's not difficult at all. There's all sorts of print shops of all kinds of merch everywhere. You just have to do your research. Sure, you can ask around. I feel like most people will be like, oh, this is a good place to start, because asking another artist how or where they get their stuff done is a little not taboo, but like kind of rude to ask. For them, they put the time and research and the trial and error and invested a lot of money and possibly lost on money because they're trying to figure out what's a good manufacturer for their product. If you're thinking about overseas, there's a lot of different print shops on Alibaba, which is kind of like a big old search engine. You can start there and then do your research, see what other reviews have, and talk to other artists who have asked them, like, have you ordered from this person before? What, how do you like them? What's their quality like? What's your preferred shiny hunting method while tabling? And I like to play Pokemon Sword, the Crown Tundra DLC. The reason why is because I'm portable on my Switch to Hunt in Scarlet and Violet, where that game's dynamic lighting and textures just ruin shiny hunting in general. It's really hard to see, and I don't want to put on headphones for Arceus in case someone's trying to talk to me. Keeping it muted and just playing a Dynamax adventure is really easy. If I'm interrupted with an order, it's fine for me to just pause. It's, I don't have to worry about something running off screen and despawning. New cons you're hoping to go to in 2025. I think the one I want to get into the most is Anime Expo. It is the biggest anime convention, but I feel like my luck with anime shows is not as strong as the ones with my video game shows. Anime Expo would be really nice just because it's in LA and it's a good excuse to go see friends and make a lot of money. And Anime NYC, I love any excuse to go to New York. And possibly FlameCon, but I do kind of want more original stuff before then. What advice would you give to yourself 1 year ago for tabling at events for the coming year? Order less. Order less things. You're not gonna sell all of it. And honestly, just keep posting, keep drawing. Yeah, it must have been a real journey going from no sales to pure profit. Did you ever get discouraged early on, or would you say the experience was worth more than the money? I do think the experience is definitely more worth the money, as much as I love money. It's been nice, and it's also like teaches me like what's working for other people and what's not working for me. Even now though, I still get discouraged. Like when I get a rejection from a show, like I got one this morning and I was like, well, I guess I'm not going there. And there's not much I can do about it, but it's just a reminder for me to keep working hard. Are you overall happy / satisfied with tabling and vending? Is the energy and effort you put in worth the outcomes? I would say so. I think it's really fun. It's definitely not as fun as it when I was first starting out because it was fresh and exciting, and now I'm a bit more competitive, but I still really like it. I like thinking about display ideas. I like thinking about merch ideas and things I'm gonna draw, and then I start drawing and I'm like, man, this is not as cool as I thought it was gonna look, but I just go with it. Now, I do think maybe I'm putting too much energy into tabling and vending, but at the moment I'm having a lot of fun. Okay, there's a couple of questions here. How do you like vending at artist alleys after your first year? I think it's fun. Pros, money and meeting new people. Cons, money and getting mental disparity when the show is not going well. Do you see yourself doing this for a long time to come? Not forever, maybe like a couple of years. It's just a nice thing to do right now. But I can't see myself doing this in 10 years. What are some shows you really want to try vending at? I mentioned this earlier, but Anime Expo and Anime NYC, those two are the big ones, and as well as FlameCon. I would like to go to TCAF though. I've never done an out of country show, but I'd love to go to TCAF just to promote Bounty Light, and as well as hopefully some other original comics if I have time to work on them. What are some ambitious merch ideas you want to try in the future? So an idea that I have, and I need to figure out a good print shop for this, is there's a shirt printing technique called sublimation, and the idea is like having a design all over the shirt. The most popular ones that you'll see at an anime con are the infamous ahegao shirts, and I was like, I want that technique, but instead of ahegao, I want to do ahe cow, and it's a bunch of cows with their tongue sticking out, looking real cute. I think that'd just be really funny. All right, and that's the Q&A video. Thank you guys so much for submitting your questions. I hope you had a lot of fun hearing my answers, and I hope you look forward to seeing my Artist Alley adventures next year in 2025. My first show acceptance of 2025 is gonna be Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, Washington in March 2025. So yeah, if you're in that area, I look forward to seeing you. If you haven't seen any of my vlogs, go check them out. There's a whole playlist. And if you're interested in any of my merch, you can check out my online shop in the link down below. There are some items that are permanently on sale because I'm just trying to get rid of them and I don't plan to remake them. And don't forget to check out Bounty Light. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.